Welcome to Health Pod, your self-development hub
on mental health, psychology, and spirituality.
I thought I knew what depression was. Boy, was I wrong. I thought I was going to die. I wasn't in control, and that was the scariest thing, like not really being in control. This isn't me. This isn't who I am. This isn't a man. This isn't a person who's going to run a shop. This isn't a person who's going to be a father. This isn't going to be a person that's going to take care of others. This isn't going to be a person that's going to take care of myself. I don't know how she stuck with me through that shit. The things I was telling her, the thoughts were based on her, and she just stuck by it. She didn't run away. She didn't move. She was just there. I got to act fast. That voice inside of me was like, get your fucking ass in gear right now. Otherwise, you've lost it. That's what I thought.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode.
Wait,
I thought I was going to do the intro.
I thought I was going to do the intro.
Wait. Okay.
Can we just stop? Yeah.
Okay. Let's go. Okay. You two, you confused me. So we're
This is going to be part of it.
Okay. Just a minute. Can I just introduce our guest?
Prego,
Thank you.
please.
Thank you very much. Can we all be serious for a minute? Okay. So we're here today with Alkis Theodoulou. Theodoro or Theodoulou? No, wait a minute. We're here today with Alkis Theodorou.
Come on.
So as his surname implies, he is a gift from God. And indeed he is. He's one of my best friends, and he's also my barber. So Alki, or for those of you that know him as the Butcher, aka Butcher, he's the owner of the barbershop, the House of the Butcher, that specialized on male grooming. So for those of you that have not checked him out yet, please do so, and you will not be disappointed. Alki.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Calimera.
Welcome.
Good morning. Welcome.
It is a pleasure for us to have you here.
It's amazing to be here. Your setup is lovely. Very bon soin.
Thank
Very
you.
feel.
Thank
I
you.
like it a lot.
Yes.
Especially like the background choice of the color.
Why, thank you.
Okay, so let me start the conversation, because I know that if I let you two chat between you, the conversation is just going to drift away, and we're not going to tackle male mental health.
Let's go.
Now, I want to start by saying that the first time I saw you and the first time that I interacted with you as a professional was when I came to you to get my beard trim at the Black Star.
I remember.
And immediately for me, there was a connection there, because I felt that there was something more than just you grooming excellently my beard, but there was also an emotional connection. And it made me as a man feel safe, and it made me safe enough also to open up. And usually what I say about you, you go to this guy not only to groom your beard, but to also groom your soul. And
That's nice, isn't it?
in one way,
Put that shit on a t-shirt.
I see that we're kind of doing a similar job, but in a different way. We provide a safe space for people to express themselves.
For sure.
Now, what inspired you to become a barber?
What inspired me to become a barber? So I studied psychology and in university.
Did
Yeah,
you?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah. I got my degree in West London University. Shout out West London. So I've always been very interested in the mind. I've always been interested in the ability to help people with just words. And not through actions or any certain things, just by an understanding of one person to another. And I was very, very intrigued by it, how someone has that ability to be able to not only give, like you said, a safe space, but to make them understand the simplest of things. Because sometimes when you're so crowded and your head's a mess and there's too many things going on, it's the simple things that actually make the big difference. Big things coming, small packages. And me, I love the little things in life. Do you know what I mean? Someone that might give you a free coffee because you go there every day, or seeing the same person walk past the street with a dog and you say, Calimera.
Yeah.
These are the things that, make my day.
They humanize us.
Exactly. So I went into psychology. It was amazing. It really was. I finished it. I actually didn't enjoy the first 2 years because there was a lot of statistics, and I don't really like maths. Because it was quite boring, and it looked like there was a lot of psychologists like bitching about other psychologists about their findings, and it was a bit like messy. Exactly. But on the third year though, that's when it got interesting, because that's when we had the ability to do what we wanted to do. So I think maybe that's an element of control. But I got to study what interests me the most, and that was PLEs, which means psychotic-like experiences, because that was what my dissertation was based on. And that was fascinating because I actually got to like interview people, get feedback, then put my own studies, my own results into the statistics, which made it a bit more fun because it's my findings. And we done some really, really good work. I ended up working afterwards in the Great Ormond Street Hospital in Russell Square, thanks to my cousin who was also the head of ophthalmology there. And to this day, it's probably one of the most difficult jobs I've ever had to do in my life.
Really?
Yeah, I'm an emotional person, like really emotional. I mean, I cry at Titanic. You know what I mean? That's the kind of emotional person I am.
Didn't everyone cry at Titanic?
There was enough space for two people. Don't get me started. Moving on, I ain't getting there again, man. I've said this before. But yeah, so for me, it was very difficult to hear and then also go back with it. It was very difficult. Like, you're dealing with like children who've been abused. You're dealing with children who are terminal, and you have to like interview their parents and how they're dealing with it. And I was quite young at the time as well, and it would hit me hard. And I remember saying to my cousin, like, how'd you do this? How have you been doing this for so many years? So, like, he says to me, you never get used to it. Eventually you just become kind of numb to the situation, and then it becomes like a normal job, and you know that you're helping. And I said, I can't do that. And he goes to me, we'll get out now. You know, because I could see him like, it's just difficult to have that toll. And I don't think I was myself physically and emotionally, mentally ready to take on that part, because I think I just jumped into it straight away. So then I used my psychology to get into sales, commercial psychology, which is the complete opposite of helping people. You're just making them spend their money.
Brainwashing.
Literally on absolutely rubbish they do not need. And I was working in Hamleys and Harrods as a manager. Great fun. You know, you're working with, everyone's like, oh, it must be so nice. You know, you're working with toys all day. And I'm like, yeah, it's not like that. You know, you have to put on this really like fake persona and smile and make people literally buy rubbish that they do not need to fill up their empty spaces of their soul. I went too deep into it, and I'm like, this is not what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. And the thing is, in my sales technique, I actually switched it up to be more honest with the people. So I feel better, and I ended up selling more because I was being very honest with them. Like, listen, it's not what you see me doing. I wasn't born drawing perfect rainbows with this rainbow sponge, but with enough practice, you'll get there eventually. It says 3 and up. I'd recommend 7. Like, I would be very honest, and the sales just went up, and I'm like, okay, this has just made it even worse because I'm selling more stuff now, and I'm thinking, is this the right thing to do? So I decided to leave from one day to the next. I was becoming a person I didn't want to become in that job. I found it too corporate. It was in the city. You're going afterwards, drinking too much. I could see myself in just a very bad path. You know, you're constantly not really there. You're somewhere else. You're not present in your job. You're always thinking instead of focusing on what you're doing. And, you know, to focus on what you're doing, that's meditation. So if I couldn't focus on what I was currently doing and my mind was elsewhere, then obviously I'm doing the wrong thing. And there's also the beginning where I started going out with my missus. And, you know, I told her, listen, I'm not happy. I want to start barbering. Now, how did I get the idea of starting barbering? Now, my grandmother was a hairdresser. My auntie's a hairdresser. My grandfather owned some salons in the UK. But I was never really involved with that side of the family that much when I was younger. I was always involved with my dad. We were working in bars and clubs and nightlife. I used to work in bars in the UK as well and clubs. So that was kind of my leash, because again, it was interacting with people and listening to music, and I was active and I liked it. But I came home one day depressed as F. Sometimes I swear, by the way. I'll try not to.
Yeah,
okay, cool. Because my mum tells me off when I swear.
She's not here.
She's everywhere.
She's everywhere.
She sees everything.
Bless her, my mum. But yeah, so I came home one day and I put on like a video recommendation, and it was just this old geezer doing a demonstration on how to cut a beard with like the traditional hot lather and the towel and the foam and the blade. And like, you know, he had his beard, he had his tats on show, he felt comfortable, he felt free. I'm like, I bet no one tells him to cut his beard. I bet no one tells him he can't show his tats. I bet no one tells him that he can't listen to this music. And it showed an element of freedom, and it showed like the ability to show who you are, but also your work you show your work through your actions in this kind of job. So I thought maybe this is the kind of path that I need to take. So literally the next day I quit my job. I found the best school I could possibly find in the UK. It was a London School of Barbering. Took a 9-week crash course, came first in the end of the year for the competition, which also gave me like a nice boost to know that I'm in the right direction. Traveled a little bit to different countries to see how they cut hair, to try and maybe work elsewhere. I was given a really good opportunity by my former boss, who is a very big mentor to me. I've also got his logo tattooed on my leg because that's the first barbershop I ever worked with. So, you know, you need to respect where you come from. Despite whether you've got a good relationship with or not, there needs to be an element of respect.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're all people. So, yeah, that was it. And it's been 8 years now. Best decision I ever made.
Has it only been 8 years?
Yeah.
I feel like you've been around forever.
I know. It's weird. I do feel like it's been longer, but sometimes it feels like it's been shorter as well.
Yeah.
But I just fell in love with the art, man. I fell in love with the art. When I cut hair, at the beginning especially, I was thinking about nothing. That was beautiful. It was
so
bliss.
you were like in a meditative state.
Exactly. So like, obviously throughout the years and business and expanding and trying to open up and marketing and employees, and now you got to pay tax and stuff.
Shit.
You know, your brain starts to wander. So like now I'm in the process of bringing me back to my space and, you know, grounding myself while I'm cutting hair and just enjoying the art form rather than everything else that goes on up here.
Amazing. How did you get your name?
The Bearded Butcher.
Butcher. Okay.
There's a couple of stories how I got the name. I'll tell you the lesser of the evils.
Okay.
So when I started barbering, I used to wear like an apron when I had all the scissors and stuff in it. And for some reason, I used to cut myself with the scissors or the blade, and there'll be like blood all over me. So there would be like a butcher apron with blood. So that's came the butcher. Nice. So they started calling me that in school when I was in the UK. And they kind of much stuck. But I like playing with knives.
I can envision you wearing
That's
that apron, like
cool
red everywhere.
Yeah. So that's where
that's a nice story.
Hence the beard. The bearded butcher.
It's very catchy.
Thank
you. Yeah, very catchy.
I would like to pick your brains because you have seen many clients throughout your years as a barber.
As a butcher.
As a barber. Now, and I remember some stories that kind of stuck with me. But okay, if you're not gonna say that story, I'm gonna ask you to say it because I think it's nice for everyone to know.
So I've got two choices: either to say it or not to say it.
I'm gonna say it for you.
Tell me, on your opinion, what were the most memorable stories as a barber
from your clients?
From your clients.
Most memorable stories as a barber from my clients.
Good or bad, or the ones that had, let's say,
the most impact on
the
you.
most impact on you.
Believe it or not, it's sometimes the people that might only come once, who maybe live in another country or just here on holiday, or they're just passing by. I'm a big believer of everything happens for a reason. I don't believe that person just walked into the shop for no reason. So the conversations that we have are quite in depth, but also they trip you out a little bit.
Okay.
When it's not tripagi, like, you know, because sometimes when you don't know the person and you know you might never see them again, it's kind of like you kind of let go, don't you, a little bit, because you feel like you're not going to be judged by someone that doesn't know you. And
from their end or your end?
Both, I believe.
Okay.
And I think that what we create as men is, what I'm trying to create is a safe space where you need to open up. And opening up to a stranger makes you realize that we're all the same and that we all have our problems. And at the end of the day, once speaking about it, it kind of not eliminates it, but allows the other person to be heard. And it sounds differently when you say it in your head, and also sounds differently when you say it out loud, because then you kind of hear it from another perspective as well. So some most memorable cuts, I don't know. There's so many. There is a lot.
Okay.
Tell me.
All right. I want you to tell us the story of this man that used to come for a regular haircut or a beard trim in Harrods, where you used to work. And I think he was rude or he was impolite, and the way that you kind of handled the situation, the way you positioned yourself.
Okay. If I tell you that I have absolutely zero memory of this, would you believe me?
I possibly have not dreamt about it.
No, I'd be like, if you just remind me a bit better.
Okay, so I think
Tell me the
the
story
story
that I told
goes
you.
in the following way. There was this guy that came from an affluent background, and whenever he used to come in, he would never say good morning or acknowledge. He was never polite to you. And after many treatments, whatever, at some point you confronted him and you told him, why don't you say good morning to me? Why don't you say goodbye to me? Why don't you say thank you? And by you pointing that bad behavior out, his behavior started changing.
Is this story true?
Because you felt, potentially you felt not seen, you felt not appreciated, because you were doing your best to please him. Although he was not reciprocating that energy exchange.
Yeah.
And you communicated what you felt, even if that client would never come back.
Okay.
Do you remember the story?
Yeah, this is when I first started barbering.
Is it the way that I?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit different. I was a bit confused. Now, for me, it's like manners maketh man. Okay, I think that's the best thing you can have. It's free. It's something that's polite. It shows a gentleman class. I also like to feed off the energy of the client. So sometimes if the client comes in and he doesn't want to talk, we don't have to talk. If he wants to play on his phone, he can play on his phone. If he wants to talk, we can talk, laugh. So I kind of allow them to have their own space. There's a reason. I always say to them, it's not my time, it's your time. You know, you chose to be here. You have an hour. Let's do what you want to do. This is your time. But sometimes I think in general, when you're not acknowledged, not only as a person, but in your craft and in what you do, it hits you. And sometimes it takes a bit of courage to build up just to say something, which is funny because just say it, like I said before. The longer you keep it, the more it will cause damage. So by me opening up to him, it was because I genuinely felt like disrespected. And maybe that was a bit of a complex for me because in my old job, I was a manager. I was somebody, I was seen as someone special. I had like 23 staff under me. I was the youngest manager in the history of Harrods and Hamleys, broken records for sales. And did that make me a more important person? And now that I'm a barber and I cut hair, who's uneducated, does that make me a less of a person? And I hated it. I despised it. So just because of my profession didn't mean that someone needed to look down on me. And that's how I felt, that I was just a service. I was just a 30 euro. So I think that's why I confronted him. And by me talking to him, and I remember this gentleman now, but how weird is the mind works. I had no recollection of that until you just told me.
Maybe that was important at some point in my life where I felt unappreciated.
That's the word, unappreciated.
When I was working in the academia, and later on I realized that basically it's a corporate environment, that I should just speak up and that I should just ask for respect and set certain boundaries. And maybe at that point in my life, I needed to hear that story.
Today's episode is sponsored by Empowered New You, where we hold women's circles, ice bath and breathwork events and retreats across the world. You can find more information on www.drstephanos.com and in the description below. You'll be able to book your events with us as well as subscribe to our email newsletter where you'll be able to find more upcoming events. We hope to see you there.
And it's amazing how the ripple effect of when two people come together and they discuss the message that they receive and how that message affects their decisions, their life, and their thought process. And for me, it was a great story that I really enjoyed. And hearing you now speak, I understand more and more things about yourself, because obviously you being an exceptional salesman in Harrods, that's kind of, whenever you fall, you can always go back to that memory of success that makes you push forward and keep believing in yourself. And maybe that could link to your the exponential growth that you had over these 2 years that I've been back to Cyprus, and I'm observing you and I'm admiring you for your tenacity and your persistence and keeping the vision alive and targeting your goals, that you're a very resilient man. And I don't really say that, but I do admire you. And because you also give me so much back, in a way, not only through the beard trim. I see that you are passionate about what you do. I see that you love people. I see that
you're present.
You're
when
present.
You do what you do.
Yeah, you want to give back. You live by a certain moral code.
Yeah.
On certain things we agree or disagree.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's you, and I love you for that, because that's Alkis.
You make me blush. I love you too. Nah, I love you, Stefan. Like, I know you know that. I mean it from the bottom of my heart, and you know how much you've helped me, and your support throughout the years. You know what it is? You're 100% right. I love people. I'm very passionate. I'm an emotional person, like I said before. Maybe it's because of the certain things that I've been through, and I know the pain and how much it can set you back, that I don't think anyone should have to go through that. I think at some points of their life, you do have to, because it makes you the person that you are today. And that is that's your written plan in life. Do you know what I mean? But if I can make just that 1 hour that you're with me better, why would I not? If I could make you smile or turn your day from a really shit day to like an okay day, it's not shit. You know what I mean? And so I think that it's kind of my responsibility. I take it upon myself to be able to kind of give that. I love making people laugh. I mean, I've thought about doing stand-up so many times in my life.
You'd be good at it. You would be good
so
at
many
it.
times in my life.
You're a great storyteller.
Yes.
You're a great storyteller.
Just because it's the energy that I receive as well. And you do receive a lot of energy in the barbershop. And sometimes it's very negative. So us as barbers need to try and transition that into something positive. But sometimes if you're receiving so much negative energy, it's really difficult, because it has a toll on you. And then you end up carrying that shit home. And you take it out on the person that you love the most for absolutely no reason, or on yourself. And that's me trying to kind of find a way to release that energy in a positive way. So I think
how do you do that?
Well, you told me a couple of tricks and stuff in our sessions. Just breathing, allowing the oxygen to flow to the brain, which allows it to know that it's safe. Focusing on one thing. The brain can't focus on more than two things at once. So if you just focus on your breathing, that's how it calms us down. Ice baths, hugging the missus. Do you know what I mean? Just hugging. Endorphins flying all over the place. Just looking in our eyes for about 30 seconds. Petting my chihuahua. Whatever it is, I think it's really important to have a release. Whether it's gaming, whether it's playing tavli with your dad, whether it's going on walks. I think every person should find their individual release that doesn't hurt you. You know what I mean? It doesn't cause you harm. I'm not saying like, take drugs and start smoking and do this and that. That's a temporary release in my idea. It's the ability to be able to have that release without using any substances, by using yourself. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing. And I think that's what leads back into what I do for work, because I try and get rid of it and try and start the day in a positive mindset. Yesterday's gone. Forget about it. Let's focus today. Don't get me wrong. You have bad days. But, okay, I'll tell you for example, right? So every day I wake up and I look in there, I'm like, it's going to be a great day. Do you know what I mean? I'm like hyping myself up. And I do it every single day. And I saw it off some golfer who started doing that as well. Every day he was like, you know, it's going to be a great day. Don't forget. And he started off saying it every single day. And I started following it. You know, I took some good advice off this gentleman. And at the beginning, I was like, oh, it's going to be a great day. And then the next day I was like, yeah, it's going to be a great day today. And I never really like believed it. And then the more I kept saying it, it's like I was reprogramming my brain. It's like a CPU. It's like a RAM. It's random access memory. So I need to kind of say every single day. So now I wake up, I just open my eyes and I'm like in the mirror, it's going to be a great day. And I'm just like screaming and I'm like, I genuinely believe it. And sometimes, you know, you put yourself down because the other day I said it's going to be a great day and something really bad happened in the morning, like a really awful confrontation that shouldn't have happened. And I said to myself, you know what, it's a shit day. I said to myself, it's going to be a great day and it's not a great day. I'm like, fuck this, blah, blah, blah. And the day hadn't ended. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. The day hasn't even started. And because this one bad thing happened, I was like, you know, F this, F the world. I'm pissed off. I'm going to go work 11 hours on my feet. And at the end of the day, something amazing happened. I got offered a really, really good opportunity for an upcoming event. And I was like, it was a great day. So never be too quick to judge. There's so much more that your day is going to offer that we don't know. Every day really is a gift. So don't be too quick and too hesitant, and just don't be too harsh on yourself. That's my best advice. I mean, just take it easy, one step at a time, deep breaths, and yeah, life's confusing, isn't it? It's very confusing. It is.
So
it's confusing as fuck.
I love the fact that you set the weather for how your day is gonna go. Now, hearing you speak, and hearing you speak, and wait a minute. Just a minute. I just gotta pick up the conversation from where we've left off.
All right.
So, hearing you speak, I love the fact that you set the weather for how your day is gonna go. And what most people might not understand initially, this saying or the affirmation, it's gonna be a good day. You don't have to fully believe it at the beginning. You can act as if you believe in it, or as if it's going to be a good day. And eventually, you start believing in it, and you start attracting that energy in your life.
100%. I agree with you. It's just practice, isn't it? The more you do of something, the better you'll get. So if you draw for the first day a face, the second day is going to get a bit better. Third, fourth, fifth, by the next month, year, you'll be really good at drawing faces. So it's the same thing with kind of programming your brain. The first day, you're not going to really believe it. Second day, you're not going to believe it. Third day, maybe the fifth week, now it's been a month, you're saying it and you start to believe it because you start noticing different things and you're reprogramming the way you think and the way you feel and the way you handle it. So with anything, it's just practice, you know, and like you told me a long time ago, the brain is just like any other muscle. The more you use it, the more you train it, the better it will get. But you also need to have its rest. So if you think of the brain as something a bit more simple, then I think it's easier for us to understand how it works, because no one really knows how it works. So it's your own interpretation for it. So that's what I mean. And to kind of program your day, as you would say, it takes time to genuinely believe it. And then you think...
and there are days that you, even if you don't feel like it, when you do and you do it, you actually just like snap back into it. So it's essential to remind yourself that you are capable of so much more than what you've been taught to believe. What really intrigues me, listening to you guys back and forth here, is your level of emotional awareness. Was that something that you've always had? Like you're very aware of your own emotions. You are very aware of other people's emotions and where they're at, obviously, with the interactions that you've described to us. Was there something that's happened in your life that's made you really aware of that? Or has that always been Alki?
You're making me go back through some files in my memory now.
Let's
That's a
get
good
them
question.
out.
To be honest, I'm not sure. I don't think I have a solid answer for that. I can't really pinpoint back a time in my life where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of changing my ways and stuff. There are certain big things that happened during my life that made me change and think differently. Like leaving Cyprus at a very young age, not understanding the choices of my parents, hating them, and then loving them because understanding what they did for me was for the best. So I think going through different ranges of emotions and coming out the other side is what made me, I think, very aware of emotions. Because when you have more time with yourself,
Yes.
you understand more. So, for example, when I moved to the UK, I had to walk like 40 minutes a day to like college and back. Those 40 minutes a day, you're just you in your head.
I used to do the same.
You know what I mean?
Walking, yeah.
And
in the UK.
during there, you start thinking, you start replaying certain things that have happened in your life, your memories, good things, bad things, how you could have done better, if you could have done better, maybe things that you did worse. And I think during those long walks, I developed a different character. I had to definitely mature. Okay, thank God my brother was there. If he wasn't there, I'd probably be like homeless. You know, he was.
Why? What were you going through at the time?
So that's like first moved from the Cyprus to the UK. I wasn't like the best youth, and some decisions were made for me that weren't in my personal opinion, best interests. Even though now we know it's the best thing that happened. Like I said, everything happens for a reason. But my brother was studying in Manchester, and like my parents just kind of dumped me with him. Now you imagine you're studying.
How old were you?
I was like just turning 17. And he's like 5 years older than me. So imagine like you're in university, you're chilling, you want to go out with your boys. All of a sudden, your 5-year younger brother has just been stopped on your doorstep. And I felt really bad about, at the time, I didn't really think about it. But, you know, he's living his life. He's got a student life. He wants to go out, see women, get drunk, whatever he wants to do at the time, study. And you've just got your little brother in your feet. So then I felt like I didn't really have a brother. I felt like I had a parent, a carer, because that was his role bestowed on me, again, not by him. I mean, he felt like it's his responsibility to make sure I'd go to college, make sure his responsibility I'd do good grades and make sure I do this so he wouldn't hear from my parents. And I just felt like it was very difficult for him to take that on upon himself.
That must have been difficult for both of you.
Yeah,
Both
like,
of you.
yeah, we used to argue a lot.
As a therapist, what I understand over here is that whenever a person builds high levels of emotional intelligence or emotional introspection, which is one of the 12 intelligence signs of Gardner, because he's basically separated intelligence into 12 different pockets. Usually these type of people come from a family in which their emotions are not so much heard. And eventually they start psychoanalyzing themselves and understanding the whys. Am I feeling this knot in my stomach? Why do I feel guilt? Why do I feel shame? And they start interpreting their own internal world. Now, this is a message obviously for you, and what we do know is that whenever an older child sometimes takes responsibility for a sick member of their family, I'm not saying that you were sick, or a younger sibling, they put others as priority. And usually this type of people, I'm not saying that your brother is, but just for the general public that is watching us to understand, is that they might be going through a phase of depression because they're putting the priorities of the other people on top of theirs. And I don't know to what extent that's true, and I'm not asking you to answer this question. But what I do want to ask you is, because you interact with a lot of men, and you represent the voice of every single man that has passed through your hands at your barbershop. What are the most common stressors that men speak about?
Usually it's the standard work, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Work-life balance and tired or the misses. It's just stuff that guys talk about, but that's bullshit. That is absolute horseshit. That is just a layer that we, society, aliens, the government, whatever, has created for us to just say so we can vent out things that are just rubbish. I think it goes way deeper than that. And the most thing that I think that stresses men is themselves. It's them not knowing how to handle their emotions. It's them not knowing how to handle certain stress. It's them thinking that they're alone. It's them thinking that they have a certain responsibility and a duty as a man. I went through a really, really bad time in my life when I opened up the shop. I was going to get married. It was the first time running a business. I was still not 30 years old. I just invested a shitload of money. I've been working 8 years towards this goal. And then I felt like sometimes when you reach a goal where you just plummet because you're like, now what? I was going through a really, really bad time. And then through this bad time came like the voices and the thoughts and the unconscious things and the unwanted stuff and the overthinking and the stressing and the panic attacks. So when I started opening up to people, because as much as I help them, they help me. You know, that's the beauty of it. You know, we help each other. As soon as I opened up, they were like, you feel that way as well? And I was like, wow. I was like, oh, I just felt free. I was like, yeah, man. And they're like, man, I thought I was the only one. And I was like, man, there's 6 fucking billion people, 7.3. There's 7.3 billion people on this planet. And we're the only ones that are going for it. Imagine how deep in thought and how stressed you are to really believe that until you just let it go. Or you think about what happens when you die as well. Doesn't that trip you up sometimes? Do you think about how we have like thoughts that pop into our head and we don't know why? Do you think about, oh my God, I'm going to be a father soon and I'm going to take responsibility? Yeah, man, I do actually. Oh man, I can't. And then you just get this release straight away. You're like, oh my God, why was I holding that in for so long? Why are we not talking about this? And I think that we're scared to talk about it. We're scared to make that initial first step. We don't want to seem vulnerable. I'm a man. You know what I mean? I'm a responsible, I'm a warrior, Spartan. Yeah, man, I'm sure these warriors and stuff also had their issues. Everyone does. So I don't think the idea of what a man is someone that is strong and hides his feelings. I think the idea of a man is the more responsibilities that you have and the way you deal with them, that's what makes you a man. I think the more responsibilities you have as a person is the more you're organized and the more you're involved and the more you're present. That's what I believe makes a man. Yeah. Of course, someone that takes care of their family, but you got to take care of yourself.
Yes.
You know, if the ship's broken, it ain't going to carry the cargo. Because, you know what I mean? You need to first fix the ship. That's going to carry all that load on you. And don't get me wrong, it is a good feeling as a man when you know you paid for your missus' bills. You've taken her out for dinner. You know, you can afford to like surprise her on a holiday. I love that shit. I'm not going to lie, I do all the time.
You're such a romantic.
Thank you. She brings it out of me. But, because again, I love giving. And I think that's such a nice feeling to give. Like, I've worked so I can give. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not only for them, it's also for me. It's kind of a selfish thing, but sometimes you need to be a bit selfish. Because they're like, oh, you do so many things for others by yourself. I'm like, by doing things for others, it makes me feel good. And that's also for me. Because I'm also going on holiday. Like, I'm also eating the steak that I'm paying for. Do you know what I mean? So it's for yourself as well. But you're also allowing someone else to experience that joy. And the fact that you're being able to give it to them is much better. So I think the biggest thing that causes stress to men is their inability to deal with it, their inability to talk about it, their inability to find a safe space where they can talk about it. And you'd be surprised how quickly the conversation changes.
Do you notice like a shift when they're talking about all this
I definitely
superficial stuff and then there's suddenly...
Yeah, there's certain people, there's certain guys that I've met who cannot talk about this stuff. They are so...
locked
So locked up that as soon as you mention anything of the spiritual realm, anything psychological, anything that they know they need to deal with but they don't want to, they shut down. Yeah, let's just like this. Stop this rubbish. Talk about something else. And I'm like, yo, talk, man. Open up. Don't be afraid. Like, you'll forget about it in a couple of days, but your brain will have processed it, and you'll grow from it. It's not going to ruin your life if you just, speak about things that bother you.
Just have a conversation about it. It doesn't mean,
yeah. Some things are intense. I mean, that's life, though. You are going to be putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, but that's how you deal with that situation. Because then the worst thing that happens is if you die. That's the worst thing that can happen, right? So if you don't die, then that's not the worst thing that could possibly happen. That's how I think about it. So it's, again, by putting yourself out there. And like you said, it is a responsibility because, they're going to go through us. I've had people tell me that they're suicidal.
Wow.
I've had people telling me thoughts about killing themselves. I've had men talk to me about thinking they don't deserve happiness. I've had men talk to me about, I don't understand what the point of anything is.
That's so much weight to carry on their own shoulders.
And then at my point, when I'm hearing this stuff while cutting hair, I'm putting myself in a certain position where I'm like, okay, you've got responsibility right now. This is what you do. This is what you live for. This is what you're working towards. Being able to offer this help. And maybe, again, that comes from helping people in my emotional background. But it's difficult. It's very difficult because you don't want to say anything stupid. You don't want to tick them off. If you're in a bad mood and say, like, yeah, you know what, fuck this shit, life's shit. I've had a shit day as well. And this guy's like, yeah, life's shit. And then you just continue this negative flow. And then you don't know what that lead to. Do you know what I mean?
For them as
well.
Like
them, especially for them, from where they're sitting.
Where they're at on that day. And
so by me doing things that makes me more emotionally connected and stronger, I think that's what allows me to help others. So, like, I'm telling my man, take an ice cold shower, man. What? Yeah, get in the ice. What's that going to do? I said it's going to do this, this, and that. It will increase your brown fat cells. It releases endorphins. It releases 2.5 times dopamine, more than cocaine, chocolate, sex. And it's a gradual process. Try going for a run. Talk to someone. I'm just trying to give them simple advices that have been passed down to me. I didn't come up with this stuff. Yeah. I've heard it from Stephanos. I've heard it from YouTube videos. I've heard it from parents, from other people. And again, it's just about passing on that information. Yeah. So I think that's just my responsibility. I don't think it's my responsibility to solve their issues. I think you have to fight your own demons because they're there for a reason, right? But I think what psychologists do and friends and family is give you the tools that you need. Like, I'm going to give you the shield and the sword, but you're going to fight the dragon. I'm going to fight it for you. I'm going to sit there and give you tips. Crouch, roll, XX.
Watch out!
You know what I mean? But, I mean, I think that's just what I need to do. And I also need to not be too involved, if that makes sense.
Yes, that must be really difficult for you.
Not to be too involved.
Because you genuinely care. And perhaps you've also been through what they've been through. So listening to their story while you are trying to keep a professional stance, that must be, it's like you're playing two roles.
Like, I've cried sometimes while cutting hair, do you know what I mean, with certain people. And just a random thing. One of the best days in my shop so far was when there was like 6 guys in the shop. Everyone was cutting hair, and every single person was singing to Dancing Queen by ABBA.
They were?
I'm not joking. ABBA came on, Dancing Queen, and everyone was, you are a dancing queen, young and free. We were just like, I know it sounds funny because I've had some really good days, but that moment has just stuck with me. Wow. And I'm like, imagine how comfortable these men feel. You know what I mean? In a safe space so we can all sing Dancing Queen by ABBA. Jesus Christ, like, what a joke. But it
sounds like a mid-circle.
You know what I mean? It was just so
like an ecstatic dance.
It was just so free. And I was like, I just looked around. And I'm like, this is wicked.
This is why I do what I do.
This is why I do what I do. This is life, man. This is us having a good time. Not taking things too seriously. Letting go. If that could be like that always. But of course, certain scenarios, we have to act in a certain way. But yeah, So anyway, to go back on it, not to be too emotionally attached and not to be too deep, because I know that you have to do it for yourself. If you don't do it for yourself, you never will. If you don't wake up and like, I'm going to do this for Alki, not for Mickey, not for my mom, not for my dad, but for me. And I think that you got to go through that. It sucks. I don't know why you have to hit rock bottom in order to make you realize that, which is terrible. Because like, I don't know how many times I said to myself before I hit rock bottom that I'm going to do this, this and that. And I fucking plummeted face first into this brick. And I was like, oh man, I'm in the hole.
Have you got a story for that, for us?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever spoken about this, obviously to this man and many people. But I fell into a very, 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 very dark depression. I thought I knew what depression was. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. I thought I was going to die. I thought that it was the end. I wouldn't know how to handle. Yeah, I think it was very, very scary. And I didn't know how to handle myself or what I would do or the decisions I was making. I felt like I wasn't in control, and that was the scariest thing, like not really being in control. And I was like, I got to act fast. And that voice inside of me was like, get your fucking ass in gear right now, otherwise you've lost it. That's what I thought.
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I'm Dr. Stephanos and I'm a psychophysiologist. I specialize on stress and anxiety and also on communication issues between couples. So for those of you that might be facing this type of problems, I provide the link for you below to book your one-to-one session with me. See you there.
And I was like, I'm going to do everything I need to do to get better, because this isn't me. This isn't who I am. This isn't a man. This isn't a person who's going to run a shop. This isn't a person who's going to be a father. This isn't going to be a person that's going to take care of others. This isn't going to be a person that's going to take care of myself. So what do? I did everything. The first thing I did, I was like, listen, I need help. That's the first thing I said, is I need help. That was the hardest thing, I think, accepting the fact that you're going to need help. I think everyone wants to do things on their own.
Yeah.
And we think we're strong enough, but it's stronger to ask for help. You know what I mean? That's that first step. So when I did, I reached out to Stefano, I called him up, and I was like, yo, man, I'm feeling like this and this. I don't know, I feel like there's something wrong with me, blah, blah. He's like, listen, man, you know, this is Alki. This is Alki who's, you know, left home at a young age, who's been through so many things, who's lived on this, who's done that. You know, this is just another path that you're going to have to take. And I was like, okay. And then it got worse before it got better. A lot worse. So what did I do? I quit smoking. So it's been like nearly a year now. I haven't touched a cigarette. I quit taking coffee to begin with. I quit all sugars. I started exercising. I was 120 kg at the time. And I just needed to put myself on a healthier path. And I was willing to do anything. If I had to take pills, antidepressants, I would have taken. If I had to go see a psychologist, I want to see him. If I had to run, I'd run. If I had to eat clean, I'd eat clean. If I had to stop doing that, I did everything because I knew that I was going to be all right. That voice was still there telling me that it's going to be okay. And that's because of everything else that I've been through. That's because of my amazing parents. That's because of my hero of a brother. That's because of my wife. That's that voice, you know, but that carries it into a very strong position. Do you know what I mean?
Did you reach out to the people around
you? Yeah,
you?
I did. I spoke to everyone.
Wow.
I spoke to everyone. They were like, how you feeling? I'm like, nah, I'm not doing at all well. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, man, blah, 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 blah. And then I'd hear their opinion, and I'd hear other opinions, and then I'd kind of put things together. And, you know, certain exercises that we did together as well really helped. And, you know, I think certain generations don't know how to handle this stuff.
Yes.
I think it's very new because of what we're going through and the stimulus that we receive and the way we've grown up. and the media and the social backgrounds and what we perceive to be right or wrong. You want an answer, you find it straight away. So when you don't find that answer straight away, that's when you're like, hold on, Google can't help me right now. Do you know what I mean? ChatGPT can't help me right now. I fucking, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Solve that, you fucking AI. I hate that shit. Anyway, that's another story. So I even downloaded this app that's supposed to help you. And I developed something called Harm OCD, which is the worst thing that I've ever gone through in my life, and that I'm still going through it, by the way. But I've just found a way of dealing with it. And when I went on this application that's supposed to help you, and I wrote down, like, I've got thoughts about killing myself. I've got thoughts about harming the person that I love the most. And it was like, SOS, like, call this number now, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? I was trying to use, like, technology to kind of help me, because that was the app that was, recommended to me. And it didn't know how to answer. And instead, it just went into, like, a fucking SOS mode. And it was like, if you're having these thoughts, please call this number right now, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm fucked. Like, I'm proper fucked. The robot just told me I need to call the fucking helpline. And when you're in that current state of mind, that's terrible.
Not what you want to hear.
That's not what you want to hear. You want to hear, it's going to be all right. You got this. It's going to feel like shit. Deal with it. Take your time. How are we going to deal with it? Together, by doing this. So seek help from people. That's the only advice I can give.
It's the first step, right?
It's the first step. Seek help from people. And then obviously love. I mean, I know it sounds corny and cringy. Call it what you want. I don't care. But love is the most powerful thing in the world. It is gorgeous. It makes you feel warm. You know what I mean? It gives me hope. It fills me up with butterflies. And that comes from your spouse, your missus, your better half. And she she's an angel. I don't know how she stuck with me through that shit, man. The things I was telling her, and it was based on her. The thoughts were based on her, and she just stuck by me. She didn't run away. She didn't move. She was just there.
The strength in her, huh?
She was just there. She's always been. And, she's the safe space. And it's really difficult, because when you're having these thoughts about the person that you love the most, and they're the ones that are actually helping you, it's such a counterbalance. It's such a mind fuck. But it just shows how more powerful the love is that can overthrow and take over these dark thoughts. And that's what I think people don't realize, that no one really knows what anyone else is going through.
No.
Who are you to make someone else have a bad day? Who are you to bring someone else down? You don't know what they're going through. I mean, stick to yourself, make sure you and your family are happy, and forget about everything else. It's not, it has nothing to do with you. If they don't ask for help and you don't seek for help, you don't make someone else feel inferior. You don't put someone else down.
Yeah.
And don't seek help from broken people. Do you know what I mean? And so that's what I've been going through the last.
Just a little recap.
That's what I've been going through the last fucking year.
Share your vulnerability. You sitting here is admirable, and to just be here and to be you fully and to own up to everything that you're going through is giving so many people the courage to keep going. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being you.
Thank you for allowing me to express myself and be here. And again, this is why we do what we do, right? So someone else might hear this and think, I'm going through the same thing.
Yeah. A big shout out to your other half. I mean, that's solid. Solid. Like that's power.
Yeah, she's everywhere. I've got her eyes tattooed on me. I've got M on my finger for the wedding finger. I've got her birthday tattooed on me. She's everywhere with me all the time anyway, even when she's not here. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, this all happened from stress.
It started from stress.
Yeah.
this harm OCD, the way I feel, everything happened from stress. And that happened from not knowing how to fucking deal with it. That happened from being blind to it, by not being taught. Why are you not teaching this in school?
Were you suppressing a lot of stuff?
I was suppressing so much stuff. I was suppressing stuff with alcohol. I was suppressing stuff by eating takeaways every night. I was suppressing stuff by smoking, by drinking, by weed, by anything else I can put in me that would just push down all this shit. And I became obese.
I want to tell you that I love you from the bottom of my heart.
Love you too.
And and thank you for opening up. And it was heartbreaking for me to see you go through what you were going through. And at that point, I received the following message. You need to do your best to help this man because he's in the front line of any other man that is going to suffer or is suffering. So you better do your best and give your best self.
Yes, sir.
To make him feel better. Because it is not just you have access to so many men. And if you're not in the right mind frame, you could affect so many different lives. And thank you for being a warrior. Thank you for being a brother. Thank you for being a lover. And thank you also for being a king.
I mean, thank you. And like I said, thank you so much for having me on the show. I will not stop. I will never give up. This is my calling. This is why being a barber is more than just cutting hair. And this is why I have so much passion about it and what goes behind the scenes. And funny enough, I'm very happy I went through what I went through. Believe it or not. Looking back now, I would say definitely not. Going back, at that time, I would be like, are you mad? If I had the choice of not going through this right now, I would never go for it. But now, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did. I think the ability of dealing with stress is a superpower. Yeah. It is. That's Superman right there. Because stress made me lose 20 kg. Stress made me open up my business. Stress made me stop smoking. But it's the ability of knowing how to deal with that stress. There's good stress and bad stress. So I think that is just, it's just basic knowledge. So if there was more knowledge out there on how to deal with it, then obviously a lot of people wouldn't have to go through it that bad. That's what I'm going to say. So, just help yourselves to help others.
Thank you so much, Alkis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been good, right? It's been enjoyable.
It's been really good.
Loving the setup, loving you guys. You guys do a lot of cool stuff. Just if I can quickly say a couple of words, is that cool?
Shoot.
A lot of people might not realize what you're doing. A lot of people might not understand what you're doing. A lot of people might interpret it in a bad way. But that by no means counterbalances how much good you guys do. So for every bad person who thinks it's just a joke or it's just another way of getting attention or just those people are the ones that need help the most. That's how I see it. And the amount of help that you guys do to others and the feedback that you get, I'm sure, makes it worth your while. So don't read the comments. That's my advice, because you know what you're doing. And as long as you get women and men coming back and thanking you, then even if you've helped one person but pissed off 100, you've helped someone because they're pissed off by themselves. So it's about helping people. So don't be afraid to be yourselves and put yourselves out there. I love that you always try. And I love that you always find the light in people, even when they can't see it themselves. You're an amazing person, Stephanos. And I love you so much. And thanks for helping me. And I definitely wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for you. I'd eventually get there because I'm amazing. But you helped me get there so much faster and so much better and so much healthier. So what you do is really strong, very difficult and very demanding. I'm sure it has an effect on your personal life. But that's why you have a goddess next to you. and you guys work together, right? So you have an amazing family, beautiful kids, amazing home. Grow in it, learn, live life, and because we're all going to end up in the same place.
Yeah, we are.
You know what I mean? So you never know what's going to happen. But one thing's for sure is that it will end. So let that drive you. That's all I've got to say. And thanks for being you. And shout out everyone watching. And thanks to the backstage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alkimu. Thank you so much for your beautiful words.
Right.
So for those of you that have liked this episode, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. And we cannot wait to see you in our next episode. Thank you.
Thank you. Much love.
Peace.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. It's been an absolute pleasure filming it for you guys. If you like the work that we are putting out into the world, please make sure you like this video and you subscribe to our channel. It really helps the work that we do.
And if you would like to follow our journey on our IG accounts as well as learn more about our services, we provide everything for you in the description below. Thanks for watching.